Guys, so last week we covered a huge topic, which was setting a budget and having a realistic idea of how much money it costs to have a traditional wedding with 100 to 150 guests. We learned that one third of couples going into wedding planning are severely underestimating their budget. And so this week I'm looking at a few different ways that we can have a wedding day besides that traditional wedding day. So we're talking about some of the differences and the pros and cons between having an elopement, the traditional wedding, and then kind of a blend of the two, which is a new trendy word, the micro wedding or the tiny wedding. So when we think about elopements, traditionally those are spur of the moment, unplanned wedding that include just the couple, the officiant, and maybe a witness. Traditionally, elopements happen in secrecy with family and friends finding out after they've already said their vows. But in recent years, elopements have become super trendy. And that means that couples are actually spending just as much time planning their elopement as they would a traditional wedding while spending a whole lot less. Nowadays, we actually have wedding planners specifically for elopements. They help scout out locations, get the marriage license, and help you find vendors such as a florist and a photographer if you still want those at your elopement. However, true elopements are still super small in numbers, with most likely less than 5 guests in attendance. So some of the pros of this are obviously when you don't have 100 to 150 people, you can take your vows anywhere. You can climb a mountain. You can go hike deep into a national forest, sneak behind a waterfall. You can go wherever you guys envision saying your vows together, and you don't have to worry about getting 100 people there, especially grandma. And obviously your costs are going to be much lower. You don't have to rent out venues. You don't have to pay for 100 mouths to be fed. You can use that money that you've saved and put it towards something else, such as an extravagant honeymoon. Some of the cons of having an elopement is obviously there's people that are going to miss out. A lot of people are going to miss out on that. And if you're an introvert and maybe more private, maybe that's not a con for you. Maybe that's exactly how you imagine marrying your partner and the love of your life. But if sharing in your love story with friends and family that have supported you through the years is important to you, then you're probably going to end up being sad that you didn't choose to have a traditional wedding. And while weddings can cause stress and drama, so can elopements if they have their feelings hurt. So you'll need to be sensitive to that. And then, of course, if you don't invite them, you can't expect to get a gift from them. So that's another small con to consider. From a photographer's perspective, I still love being with my elopement clients and couples for the full wedding day. I love to be there as you're getting ready and all throughout the day until you guys are cutting the cake if you choose to do that. We'll have more time for portraits when it's just the two of you and we don't have a strict timeline to adhere to. We can go to those epic locations. And that's one of the things that I love about shooting elopements is that I'm game to shoot anywhere. I can shoot in snow and rain and boots and barefoot, waterfalls, wherever you guys want to go. We can truly customize the experience to just be about the two of you. So when we look at a traditional wedding, I think we have a pretty good idea of what a traditional wedding ceremony and reception entails. Getting ready with your bridal party, having your friends and family there that have supported you through the years, sharing a meal with them, usually a big party, dance floor afterwards. It's a giant party that's celebrating the two of you. So the pros of this are you get to celebrate with those that mean the most to you and that have supported you through the years. They get to participate with you in your ceremony and making those memories together. This might be the only and last time that your entire family and your spouse's entire family are all in one area. You might not ever get that chance again. So that's something that's really special and something important to consider. Obviously, some of the cons are the cost, right? It's expensive. There are also a lot of moving pieces within a wedding day, and that can be stressful. You risk hurting feelings of people that you didn't invite, but that comes with all of it. There can be added drama when all your family is together and that many people coming together at once. Or maybe you just don't like being the center of attention or being in large crowds. Your location and your venue space is limited to how much space is offered if according to the people that you've invited. So that limits the location, right? And you're also on a stricter timeline when you have that many people waiting on you. From a photographer's perspective, I still love the traditional wedding day. I still think they're relevant, meaningful, and romantic. Not to mention that receptions are probably one of my favorite parts of a wedding day. Not only do I love a good dance floor, I love meeting bridesmaids and groomsmen and seeing how they've played a role in my couple's lives. I also love hearing parents and other family members toasting the couple. I feel like this is when I get to know them through their family's eyes. And that's just really special to me. I feel like I become closer to them and see them in a whole new light. And so I end up crying or tearing up at almost every reception that I go to. And not to mention, I love a good dance floor. So for me, I still love traditional weddings as well. And then we have the micro wedding, which is kind of a hybrid of the two of them, right? So a micro wedding usually is about 50 guests in attendance. And most people that are choosing a micro wedding, they are still using their full wedding day budget, but just with a higher cost per person. So a pro of this is that you still have your nearest and dearest there with you, but you can give them a really specialized treatment. You can splurge on each one of them and make it a meaningful experience for them. So you might not be able to still hike up a mountain with 50 guests, like you could if you were truly eloping, but you also have access to more options than you would with 150 guests, right? So some of the cons of a micro wedding is you still might feel like you're missing out on some people that weren't able to come. There is still a chance of hurt feelings. From a photographer's perspective, from my personal perspective, of course, ultimately, don't make your decision based on other people. Yes, I have mentioned hurt feelings, but you're going to be getting advice from people about every aspect of your wedding day, from the moment you announce your engagement until probably after the wedding day. And so if you follow everybody's advice, then nobody's going to be happy, especially you two. So it ultimately comes down to the two of you and how you imagine saying your vows. If it's private and intimate is what you hope for the two of you, then just realize and explain that to your family in the most kind-hearted way that you can, and hopefully they'll understand. If not, you can still have peace knowing that you guys did what was best for the two of you. From a photographer's perspective, as we look at all three of them, personally, for me, it's the idea of having all of my family, extended family, and closest friends in the same room and being able to take photographs with them is really special and important to me. I can't imagine being able to go back to my wedding day and redo some of those pictures now that I've lost grandparents and other important people to me. A wedding day is a once in a lifetime chance to be able to get all of those people under one roof and take pictures with them. So for me, I wouldn't sacrifice that. But that's just personally me. And I also love a good dance floor. So I'd have to have one of those as well. So for me, I would probably end up somewhere along the lines of a micro-ish wedding with my closest family and friends there, taking pictures with a photographer that can capture it in a way that I know is meaningful and that I'll be able to love on those photographs for years to come, even after those people that are important to me have passed away. So that's kind of an overview of elopements, micro weddings, and the traditional weddings, some of the pros and cons of each of them, from a budget perspective as well as from a photographer's perspective. So I hope that was helpful, and tune in next week, you guys. Thanks for watching.